Hi there, welcome to the Golf Shack down at Moor Allerton Golf Club in Leeds, and this morning we are doing a review of Ping's brand new G400 Crossover. Really excited when Ping brought this out, or the original G, a couple of years ago now, almost. So I'm sure lots of you out there are very interested to see what they have changed from the Crossover. Ping said it was a bit of a Marmite club, you either loved it or you hated it. Personally, I loved it, so they've made a lot of changes, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse for me. We'll have to wait and see. What are your first impressions of this new little beauty, Dan?
Really excited to see this golf club. Really like the idea of Crossover. Don't think I've used Crossover, I've had two in my bag for quite a lot of the last 18 months. So I feel quite well positioned to say what was good and not so good about it. I thought it was a brilliant club. I think they're definitely onto something. It wasn't quite perfect, so I'm just going to watch you hit some shots with this, and I'm interested to see whether this very different looking club, and I can see just from looking at it that it's going to do some different things. I just want to see how it compares.
Yeah, just to talk a little bit about what they've actually done here. As you remember from other videos, Ping like to take on consumer feedback from tour pros, and one critique they had of the Crossover was that, particularly maybe for the better players, they thought it went left on them a little bit. They also thought it went a little bit too low, so if you're attacking a green, it was just sort of running through greens and things like that. So what Ping have actually tried to do is they've tried to make it fly a little bit higher, and they've tried to make it fly a little bit straighter. They showed me some really interesting stats when I went to the launch event here on how it compared on sort of heel and toe strikes with the original G model. They had it on their Ping Man, which is their robot testing, and it was actually 45%. Less curvature, if you like, on the off-centre hits, because as you know, as I know from using the Crossover, a toe strike with the Crossover, that was going left, wasn't it? That was hooking almost, and they've actually managed to soften that sort of curvature out on the toe strikes, and also shots that are sort of struck near to the heel. So that's quite an interesting thing to see. Got the new finish here again. It keeps it in line with the other models, with the new G400 irons, with the I200 irons and the glide wedges. It's this hydropearl finish, which it's got aesthetic benefits, but it's also got benefits to help stop flyers out of the rough and things like that. So the finish is definitely catches the eye. I think if you set it down on the ground, the main difference is that what you are going to notice is it's actually got a thinner sole. So what Ping says, that's actually going to glide through the turf a little bit easier. They said with the original Crossover, said it was more of a thud when it went into the ground, whereas this one should glide through it a little bit more easily. So yeah, again, we stress this point. Ping don't just do new for new's sake. There's a lot. There's from one iteration to the next. There's quite a lot of difference here, isn't there, Dan? So it's going to be interesting to see what the performance differences are, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The huge thing for me, just on the visuals of it, is is this big toe that you got on Crossover. So for me, I'm afraid I am prone to a toe, get a bit steep on it. A toe with a Crossover is an absolute disaster for me because it's just going leftier and leftier and leftier. So I'm interested to see the new one looks a little bit more neutral to me, and I'm interested to see what happens when we hit it out the toe. So let's have a look.
Yeah, good stuff. Notebook away. So another really cool thing that Ping have done, I think, with their G400 range is the new Alta Shaft. You may remember sort of like the blue Alta shafts previously. They didn't really look that premium, but now we've got this nice copper colour shaft, and if you're looking at it like that, you might think, oh, that's going to glare in the sun, but it's very clever that as you set it down behind the ball, it almost goes black, which I think is really cool. So I think lots of people are going to appreciate that.
Yeah, my own experience of using Crossover is that it's a club that you're not frightened about pulling out of the bag, even if you're not having your best day, whereas I think for most of us, a 4 or 5 iron, being honest, is a club. When it's good, but really, a slight mishit is really hurting you.
Absolutely, and I do think you're going to get a lot more, forgiveness out of this sort of club.
Again, from the view I've got here, just seeing how the club looks behind the ball. Really looks significantly cooler than Crossover. Crossover had many qualities. I wouldn't say it was a particularly cool golf club, but this looks more like someone's using, I guess, like a driving iron, kind of like a proper golf club, if you like.
It does have more of a driving iron look to it than the Crossover. I'm not sure I agree with you on the coolness. I quite liked that, that black head shape of it. I was a big fan of the Crossover, and like I say, when I knew that they were doing a new one, I was a little bit like, there wasn't anything really about the old crossover for me that I didn't like. So I'd be interested to see if I can get some more joy with this than the old one.
Ping have had a little bit of a tweak on the lofts, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We've got 22 degrees on here, which is a degree weaker.
That's right, yeah, 21 on the 4 in the original crossover, yeah. Having described the look as driving iron-like from where I'm standing, I must make clear that this is a club that's going high. Like I'm just watching James hitting these, and that they are not struggling to stay in the air at all. And it's just if anyone was thinking, quite like the idea of that, but I'm going to struggle to flight it. I'm not sure that you're going to be able to say that with this particular club.
No, I think it's very easy to get the ball in the air.
And even if you get one out of the bottom rail, it's not really hurting you, is it?
No, it's hitting some good ones there. I'm actually, I'm liking that ball flight, because it's going quite high, but it seems to be staying, it's not sort of, moving around. It seems like quite a strong flight, particularly into the wind. I think of crossover, I think, lots of tour pros might want to use these at the open or whatever, just to be able to hit those little low bullets that just chase down the fairway. So it'd be interesting to see. I think we might see a few of these in play at Birkdale. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yes, I remember being at Troon last year, when the weather wasn't always kind, and I saw absolutely loads of them, and not just in the bags of Ping players. There were obviously a lot of people who come to that event and switch them in, which I guess does show that for the better player, well, for all players, they were obviously going quite low, because these guys would not have been putting them in their bag that week if they were going high.
No, exactly. But then the flip side of that, see what Ping have done is they want these to fly a little bit higher, because they want people to be able to hold greens. So there's a definite balancing act there between getting that right ball flight.
Yeah, I think what I found and trying a couple of different crossovers in different lofts is that it really does depend on what you want to use it for. So if you're looking for something that's really going to get it out there, particularly into the wind off the tee, then the 3 or maybe even the 4, depending on your launch characteristics, are going to do really well. Now, if actually it's a club to go and find to land into greens, you might well go into the 5, which is going to get you plenty of distance, but definitely going to be softer landing. I'm presuming that there are going to be 3 crossovers available, same as before, so it's a 3, a 4 and a 5?
Yeah. So I think one area where crossovers are good, because you do just get some people who are not fans of hybrids. A lot of people, similar to original crossover, complain about hybrids going left. I don't care what your ability level is. You're just not gonna. I don't even see 2, 3 handicappers carrying like 3 irons these days. And those sorts of players can struggle with those strong hybrids, because sometimes they can just be a little bit too hot, and they can just absolutely fly off the face. So they should have a real wide-ranging appeal. These clubs, I think they can help your high handicappers like me, but I do think they can really help those low sort of single-figure players as well.
Yeah, I think it's all about options, isn't it? It's there are just more ways to help you hit the shots you want to hit. Now, for some of us, that's going to be a crossover. For others, a few, it'll be a long iron. For many, it'll be hybrid. For others, it'll be lofted fairway woods. But the cool thing about crossovers is it's another choice, another thing to add to your armoury. And
and I know that we know that there's not a huge amount that golf manufacturers can do when it comes to a driver, because they're very strict USGA limits. But with a club like this, there's just a little bit more where they can go. There's a few more things that they can do, and that's why I think what we're seeing here from 18-month-old product to now is you'll probably see far more difference in looks and tech compared to what you would from a driver on that same period.
What's your perception of the kind of golfer who the crossover is most going to suit?
I think it's going to suit someone who maybe feels like they don't get any control with a hybrid. They feel like a hybrid is just a sort of high, spinny thing that they can't really control. I think it's going to suit people who struggle to hit a 4 iron. I think you're going to get more consistency, hitting something that's just got more forgiveness right across the face. So it's quite wide-ranging appeal actually, and it's interesting to see that the tweaks that they've made to the G400 crossover seem to be listening more to the problems that the better player had, you know, with the crossover. So one thing that I'm finding it a lot more difficult with this club to get the one going from right to left, which is kind of what I like to see. I liked about the original crossover. There's a little bit less offset on this one. Which is good, I think, in a way. You know, most of the flight that I'm getting is a good, strong, straight ball flight there. You know, carry 180. That's, for me, that's really probably what I'm looking for about this club. Carry 180, carry 185. Yeah,
if I was looking at your ball flight and you've hit some really good shots, I would say that the trend is that the ball is not going left, and it looks like it's coming out quite high to me. So I would have said that if they were the two design goals of crossover, Mark II. To get the ball going a bit higher and a bit less prone to go left, and I would say that they've succeeded on both goals just from watching you hit 10 or 20 shots. You know,
so I tried to get one going left then, and it was just nice and straight. So it's not a bad thing at all. I like to hit it on a shot where, let's say it's a par 5, where you just want to kind of get the ball sort of chasing down the fairway a little bit, you know, just to kind of get maximum distance. I like it on a long par 3. Actually, like on a short par 4 off the tee. You know, if we can get, you know, sort of like a 200-yard shot out of it, I think it's really good. And like I said, that long par 3 where you've got sort of like a 185, 190 carry, I feel like I'm got a better chance of hitting the number more consistently than I have with the 4-iron, and I think that's sort of like what it's all about, really. Yeah, everyone can rip a 4-iron every now and then, and it feels great and it makes you feel good about yourself. But if you're honest with yourself, I think more often, you know, more times out of 10, you're going to hit a good shot with a crossover, in my opinion. Good fun to hit though, aren't they, Dan? You know, you know from using them out on the course, they're the sort of club where I know when I play, I look forward to pulling it out of the bag because it's something a little bit different. You know, it's not an iron, it's not a hybrid, and it's just I think it just makes the game a little bit more fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say from the 4 is that what I know is that it hits its distance pretty much every time, and that's quite a nice feeling. So for me, the 4 is like a 220 club. And it's very, very rare that I don't get the thing, you know, if there's a hazard in front of the green, I'm pretty confident I'm going to carry it with my crossover in a way that I probably wouldn't be with a long iron. Well, definitely wouldn't be. So just before we look at some of the TrackMan numbers there, just wanted to talk a little bit about the performance and the distances you might be able to expect. So this says 4 on it, as does the new crossover, which we've been looking at today. A little bit misleading though. I'm just thinking of 4 reasons before we start why you wouldn't expect it to do the same as a 4-iron. So the first thing is the loft. They're going to be a tiny bit stronger on crossover, even though they've been weakened. Still a little bit stronger on the loft, maybe only half a degree now, but still something. Then second thing is obviously the design of the head. Way more chunkier head than you would expect. Probably going to result in a bit more ball speed. Third thing is the shaft length. Ping being Ping, there's a fantastically precise measurement for the shaft length on crossover, and it's something like 0.13. But broadly speaking, if I say it's 3/4 of an inch longer on a crossover than on a corresponding 4-iron, and then finally the material. So you're going to probably use a graphite shaft in your crossover versus a steel for most people in their iron. So it's just 4 reasons there why a 4 in a crossover is definitely going to go further, just to help you with your gapping. It's just a custom fit issue for me. So with that, James, just onto the numbers. How did it go? What did you think?
Yeah, I found it. The sound was really nice. The feel was really nice. I did like the ball flight. The fact that it was, you know, it stayed, you know, fairly straight on the good shots. There wasn't, you know, too much curvature on there, which is something that Ping have tried very hard to do with this club. Where I didn't actually prefer it to the original crossover was that I was just actually struggling to sort of like try and get the ball turning over. The ball was going very high with sort of like a gentle fade on it, whereas I'd prefer to see it going a little bit low with a little bit of draw on it, which is something that I find a little bit easier to do with the existing model. Just looking at the numbers there, we've got an average carry of sort of 180, total 188, which I think is pretty much there or thereabouts for me. That's the sort of, if I'm looking at say like a long par 3, 185, I'd say it'd be a fairly reliable club for me, from a distance point of view on there. So it's far more easier to hit than a 4-iron. It's going to be more consistent for me than a 4-iron, and I think that's probably going to be the case for a lot of players.
Yeah, and just standing behind you and watching you hit the shots, there's two things I know about James's game. One is that it hits the ball very high, and the second thing is that it's a fader. So interesting that the two particular features that we've just changed in Crossover, not necessarily going to help him, but I think they probably will help a lot of other people. So, and that's always the way with club engineering, is you move things in a certain direction and it helps you in one way, but it always takes away in another. So what I would say is that the sound is a little bit crisper, feel it kind of sounds a bit more iron-like, looks a bit more iron-like, maybe looks like it's going to be a slightly more precise kind of tool just purely because of the way it looks. But from watching James hit shots, I can't wait to give it a go.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Dan will get on with this club really well, because he fears that one that goes a little bit left, and I think this is probably going to straighten it out a little bit for him. But we're not going to get him hitting this model because this is custom fit for me. It wouldn't be a fair test if we did that, but we're going to come back with Dan hitting when he gets his custom fit model, and we'll compare it with his custom fit G model that he's got there. So I think that'll be a really interesting one to see from a player feel point of view and also from a numbers point of view. But like I say, got some numbers there. If you've got any questions, more about the technology here, or if you're more about the specifications, about the things like the shaft lengths, things like the lofts, all the sorts of things that Ping can work on from a custom fitting point of view. Just to kind of get your set makeup exactly right. Please post your comments below, and we will answer them as soon as we can. But we hope you found this interesting. Unfortunately for me, I'm still leaning more towards the old model, so sorry about that, Ping, but I did say that there was a chance that might happen. But still, there's still huge amounts of positives about this club, so I think it's definitely one that you're going to want to check out. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed those videos. These videos are shot down at Moor Allerton Golf Club. It's a beautiful 27-hole golf course here in Yorkshire. If you want to come and join us in the shack, come down. We can do lessons, we can do custom fitting. We've also got a lovely shop here, professional shop with lots of quality stock. If you can't get here, have a look on our website, jwgolf.co.uk. Lots of stock available on there. Or if you've got any questions and you want to just drop me an email, my email address is james@jwgolf.co.uk.